Welcome back to Citrus Silly Point. I've been receiving messages on when I'm going to post my next video, and I was laying low in Ramadan, but let's talk about the recently concluded Pakistan versus New Zealand T20 International Series. The Pakistan lost 4-1, their new talent hunt and its approach, their senior players underperforming, and how pretty much every game's result was decided in the power play. Let's go. So there's a lot of backlash and chatter regarding this being an embarrassing series loss for Pakistan. But to me, the only two players that should feel embarrassed and self-reflect are the experienced players, Shadab and Shaheen. First of all, it's beyond anyone how someone who was literally removed from the team due to their below par performance and then can make their way back into the team as a vice captain without doing anything noteworthy in the domestic circuit. If his father-in-law cannot help him improve his bowling, I don't know who else can. There is still no alignment on whether Shadab Khan is a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder, although he has consistently failed in both departments. The truth of the matter is no one actually knows if Shadab is selected as a batting all-rounder, a bowling all-rounder, or simply because he's the son-in-law of an ex-cricketer on the cushion of nepotism. I'm serious, it would be a great favor for the fans if we were just simply told the reason why. If it is because he's a batting all-rounder, as Shadab himself claims to be, then he made a total of 58 runs at an average of 14.5 across 4 of his 5 games in the series, and that too by selectively choosing positions to bat as a vice captain to get most money for his buck. If he is selected on the basis of him being a bowling all-rounder, then he has 1 wicket in his comeback series, leaking 143 runs in the series, the highest by a bowler in the series. If, on the other hand, it is on the basis of nepotism, connections, and being a son-in-law of Saqlain Mushtaq, well, then that makes sense. But just say so. Shadab's inclusion in the T20 series, and that too as a vice captain, sabotaged the opportunity to play a proper spinner. Sufyan Muqim, a true find, was given a total of what? 2 overs in the final, dead rubber game of the series. 2 overs. But then again, 2 overs because New Zealand wrapped up that game in 10 overs. And that too on the backs of Abrar Ahmed sitting out, who's been doing all right for a number of games. Both Sufyan and Abrar deserve a proper run. And had Sufyan been included in the Champions Trophy, things may have been a bit different. But let's come back to this series. Shadab Khan's inclusion was a deliberate barrier, in my opinion, a roadblock in building Pakistan's spinning options and improving bench strength. Anyone who disagrees is either a fan of Shadab or probably a relative of his. On a similar note, Shaheen Shah Afridi, the eagle, the all-rounder, the ex-captain, albeit for a total of 5 seconds, played 4 out of 5 games when in reality he didn't even need to play a single one of them. He failed to take advantage of scenic conditions where New Zealand bowlers were able to rip through Pakistani batters with bounce, seam, and swing. Shaheen looked like a rookie, completely ineffective, taking a total of 2 wickets at an average of 66.5. Years from now, honestly, fans will recount Abbas Afridi and Mohammad Wasim Jr. and wonder what happened to them. Why didn't they make it far? And the simple answer would be because Shaheen happened to them. Like Shadab, Shaheen's inclusion is a complete roadblock to the future of Pakistan's pace attack. There is no denying he was a great bowler at one point, but post-injury, he has never looked the same. Whether to blame the management, the board, the coaches, the selectors, or Shaheen himself. But now his inclusion in the team is costing the team game after game after game. If he's going to take a wicket after leaking 60-something runs in scenic countries, one can only imagine the failures that lay ahead in Asia Cup and the T20 World Cup in 2026. The other thing is, Pakistan team management, the players, journalists, and the fans need to stop labeling every bowler who can hit a few sixes a bowling all-rounder, and every batter who can spin the ball in his backyard a batting all-rounder. At the moment, Pakistan does not have a single all-rounder in the team that can be compared to the likes of Hardik Pandya, Livingston, Captain, Stoinis, Mohammad Nabi, Hasan Ranga. And because of stubborn inclusions of tried, tested, and miserably failed so-called all-rounders like Shadab Khan, Pakistan no longer understands the very definition of what being an all-rounder is all about. On the other hand, throughout the series, Pakistani batters never adjusted to the bouncy conditions. They struggled against seam and swing bowling, failing to put up a good score in the power play, except for the third T20, where all or nothing Hasan Nawaz, Mohammad Haris, and eventually Salman Agha took the game away from the Kiwis. Don't get me wrong, it was expected that Pakistan would struggle and wouldn't come close to winning the series. So I don't know why that's a shock to some. I think anyone who has followed Pakistan cricket in the recent past would have predicted a series loss before it even began. Pakistan's last visit to New Zealand also resulted in a 4-1 series loss when Shaheen was captaining and Babar scored a couple of 50s. I don't think this renders ex-cricketers and YouTubers going ballistic against the current team. If there's anyone to be going against, it would have to be the management, the selectors, the coaches, because they're experienced and they know exactly who they are selecting and who they are not selecting to play. They claim that they are trying youngsters, but failed to rotate the bench in the 4th game of the series just because they won Game 3. Usman Khan and Irfan Niazi have yet to get a solid number to bat on. I bet the poor fellows have no idea if they're even playing in the 11 on the next day and what number they'll be batting on. Usman Khan finally got a chance, or else thus far he's just been carrying his kit around with the team. Irfan Niazi is not getting the right chances. I mean, Shaheen Shah Afridi was promoted to bat ahead of him in the series against South Africa. His record will show he's played 10 to 15 T20 matches, but has he really? Still, this doesn't mean Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan have any room to return in the T20 squad. They were given a bucket load of chances and couldn't make much impact. Some of Babar's die-hard fans and campaigners were posting Babar's stats on my tweets and commenting on my previous videos. And we also see some ex-cricketers on TV channels and on their YouTube channels supporting him and going as far as saying that his inclusion in the team is necessary for the young ones to gain experience playing around him. Hello, brother played for 4 years. How many young blood came forth? Well, how many new faces were even allowed in the team in the first place? But if we're going to say this, then Mohammad Haris still stands pretty much where he stood 2 years ago. Kamran Ghulam was dropped before he could even cement himself in the team. So let's not come up with empty reasons just to push for Babar's inclusion back in the team. Another thing is, it's a bilateral series. Why get so worked up because of Babar and Rizwan's exclusion? How many greats in other teams play in every game? And it's appalling how folks complain as if these two haven't been given hundreds of chances already. To say there's no one else that can play like them? Yes, there isn't, because no one has played as many games as them. They haven't done much to improve their technique, evolve their game to match with what is required. Hardik Pandya was literally booed by his own countrymen in his country, and look at his turnaround. To me, he has single-handedly won matches and helped his team win trophies. PR and campaigns only go as far as they can. If you want to be praised for your work, put in the effort and stop looking for ways to stat pad your way back into the team by playing bilateral series. That's the bottom line. It took a whole lot of poor performances to finally remove Shadab Khan, but in a blink of an eye, he's back as vice captain in the team. So who knows what's in the future for Babar and Rizwan. But if the Pakistani management is looking towards the future, they would ensure they use the next few series to test out as much talent as possible before finalizing on a group of 15 to 20 players, and then have them play in a series or two before the T20 World Cup. And allow the inexperienced side that, travel to New Zealand to also demonstrate their skills and talent in Asian conditions, keeping Asia Cup and T20 World Cup in mind. I have to say something about Salman Ali Agha, who has shown promise both as a captain and as a player of the team. He was quick to identify the areas the team was struggling, such as the power play, without going into too many tangents in his post-match conversations. Although I think he highlighted Hasan Nawaz's 100 as one of the best moments, and nothing to take away from that, but Sufyan Muqim's 2 overs certainly stood out as well. The one thing that deserves highlighting about Salman Ali Agha is the fact that he doesn't seem to be chasing his own stats, and it's changing his game to fit the need. For someone who didn't look like a T20 player, is transforming his batting, and that too in New Zealand. That doesn't have the most batting friendly pitches. Yes, he changed the batting position he bats on, but BABAR RIZWAN should take note, and their fans as well, because if Salman is showing a change in his technique so quickly, depending on the format, then the amount of experience BABAR and RIZWAN have in playing this format should have rendered a change in their style and approach a long time ago. As the captain, it is too early to say much about Salman Ali Agha, as he went with a young side with likely not a lot of input or say in team selection, and with Shadab as vice captain, who was heard at times not listening to Salman's call to come to bowl. Nonetheless, he does need to make some bold moves as a captain and establish trust and a camaraderie amongst the younger players so he can lead his team to deliver a consistent and all-round performance. Salman Ali Agha, though, has a selfless, relaxed approach about him with likely not a lot of PR behind him to spoil him. And I hope this doesn't fade away with these lows and immense pressure from social media. If he is a ray of hope towards the right direction, even if it is baby steps, then he deserves a long run. To change captains and bring about, let's say, Shadab or RIZWAN or someone else at some point before the big events would not be the best of moves, especially when they haven't led from the front, and someone like Shadab who hasn't even done his part as a player in the team. If this is a step towards the future and exploring the talent, then let it be just that. All teams go through this one time or another, maybe not this dramatically, but teams like Sri Lanka have even gone through such phases for an extended period of time. Only recently have we started to see a glimpse of what Sri Lankan cricket used to be. England, on the other hand, is also in need of retrospect, but when it comes to Pakistan, a dead series in terms of impact and irrelevant series in terms of, let's say, ICC-related events is a perfect opportunity to experiment and explore the potential of your talent and your bench strength, instead of unnecessary importance and scrutiny given to winning or losing. What this reflects is irrational, hasty, and impatient nature of the board, the management, and the fans alike, jumping into comparisons with players of the past, paid PR campaigns, fan battles, and keyboard warriors going to rude lengths to prove a point using meaningless stats. This needs to change. Cricket is an emotion for a lot of fans, but being an emotional fool is a choice. So choose wisely. That's it for now. Let me know what you think, whether you like the video or dislike the video, and I shall see you in my next video. Until then, take care.